warmth of twilight caresses the air. The river mist hangs sweet and fair. The evening swallows, they whisper their tune, dancing on the moon. Why have the stars called us here?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. This is our monthly live show, a recorded live interview with a regional songwriter who talks about their craft, how they started, what their influences are, and most importantly, how you can find their music and support them. Our special guest this time around from New Jersey is Kathy Moser. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, Tom. Thanks so much for having me, man.
It's very good to see you. I love your music.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. Bernie Drury was one of our earlier episodes, and he's a member of the New Jersey Songwriters, Skyland Songwriters Guild, as are you. And a number of people have pointed me toward you. And then you reached out, which was great. You will find Kathy's music to be original and positive and a real ball of insight and energy and great guitar skills. It's very, very good to have you here.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, first of all, how have you been faring as everyone else has been in our unique situations where the vaccines are ramping up and people are finally getting shots, but we're kind of still in the pandemic? And what's your music world been like?
Well, I mean, I have to say I've been super lucky because I work in a lot of mental health facilities and they are jammed because so many people are suffering. So I've actually been working continuously throughout the pandemic, unlike a lot of my touring musician friends. So I'm super grateful for that. I've also been had a lot of exposure. Every facility I work at has had active COVID cases. We actually lost 4 staff members at one of the hospitals that I work at, including one 2 weeks ago. So I've been very isolated because I have like so much exposure. I just can't be around people because I can't give it to someone else. I've been super healthy, taking a lot of precautions, but and also super grateful to be vaccinated, and so grateful the vaccines are rolling out so strong in New Jersey with these mega sites we have.
Yeah.
And so I'm really grateful, and I've been really lucky, and it's also totally affected me, right? Like just like everyone else, I'm grateful that I haven't had a big financial impact, and I haven't gotten sick, but it's still not nothing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, first, thank you for being one of the many frontline people. It is just wonderful what you people are doing, and every kind of frontline person, a delivery worker, a retail worker, but most importantly, people who are working clinically, of having to be there and helping other people is just a great positive thing. So thank you for that.
Well, you know what? It's also been like to be able to be a musician, and like I always say, like I'm just the one that carries in the bucket of glitter, right? I'm not the bucket of glitter. I'm just bringing in the bucket of glitter. But it's been very amazing to watch how much music matters to people during this time. And I've also been doing a lot of like one of the facilities I've been working remotely for a year, and it's been so moving to me to be. That's a mental health facility with adolescents, and you know. It looks like a mental health facility, right? And through the screen, and to hear these people singing and making music and learning instruments in this space has just been very deep. So I'm really grateful that I'm a musician and I can bring that in there.
That's fantastic. You think of all the great quotes from the Greeks right on forward of how essential music is to life, and how integral music is to the actual science of the universe. It is just amazing how important it is to people when it gets in their hearts and in their minds. It's just wonderful. I'm speechless. I love music. I'm crazy about it. So.
Yeah, and I tell you what, so like it's one thing to see it like in a folk club, right? And it really matters to us, or at a festival, and it's another thing to see it like in a locked unit, and to see how many talented people are in there, and how it lifts people up and brings people together and carries people through a dark time, you know? So yeah, I'm really honored to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was, after college in my early 20s, I was a musician and also worked at a psych hospital. I was a recreational therapist, but I was also the backup music therapist when he had to go on vacation or had somewhere to go. And I know what you mean about how important positivity and is in that kind of environment, and how much people value things like music.
And
Even-
self-expression. It gives people a way to express themselves that sometimes they just can't get to otherwise.
Well, I'm going to ask you to do your first song in a second. So, hey, again, this is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. We interview a wonderful regional artist, someone who has some great skill in the craft, who has some releases, who's getting great press, and whose original songs are something new and different. Something new for your world and your ears. And our guest is Kathy Moser, someone very unique, someone very positive and skilled at the craft. We're just really pleased to have her here. What were you thinking of doing for your first tune?
I thought I'd start with Moses because I know you really like that song. So I thought I'd start with Moses. And I wanted to say, so I love to read. I'm a nerd. I love science and I love to read. And so this is not a religious song. It's just basically a teaching story song. But I'll just tell you this, is that when I grew up in the Christian tradition. And so when I heard the story of Moses, I just kind of assumed that he was dry when he parted the Red Sea. But if you go back to the earlier writings of it, the dude was up to his neck in the water. He was all the way into the water. And so this is a song for everybody who was just walking into the water to make it part and to change their life and change the world and like that.
Wonderful.
So, and I'll talk about the songwriting of it afterwards if you want to a little bit. Moses came to the water. Moses stepped right in. The water was rising. Moses kept going. He said, neither shall I sink nor shall I swim. Because faith, that's when you're moving. You've left everything you've ever known. And God mostly talks to people in the desert who are down on their knees alone. Every ocean opens when we walk into the water of our fear. There's magic in motion. It's the steps we take that make the path appear. Yes, it's the steps we take that make the path appear. We find ourselves on the edge of the sea inside our hearts. It's sacred ground when we're lost and found. Step right in, I swear, the water parts between the desert and the sea, We stand between our fear and our destiny. So remember mighty Moses heading for the promised land. He would not be stopped by water after 40 years of sand. No, no, no. No, no, no. No, no, no. Would not be stopped. So you could sink or swim. You could stay out. You could jump in. It's entirely up to you, but I believe that God helps those who help themselves, 'cause that's the way that we learn to help somebody else. Oh, every ocean opens when we walk into the water of our fear. There's magic, magic in motion. It's the steps we take that make the path appear. Yes, it's the steps we take that make the path appear. That's why when Moses came to the water, Moses stepped right in.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. A lot of positivity in that message about not being afraid and meeting the opportunity, and this comes out in some of your other songs that I've listened to about people creating their futures by action, and regardless of situation, you have to do certain things. And
100%.
how is that theme developed in your writing? Because I hear it quite a bit.
Well, first of all, I don't want to say that I'm not afraid. It's about how do you keep moving when you are afraid, which actually I think is a lot about love. It's a lot about love, about telling the truth, about having friends that support you, having a vision you're heading to, and taking good care of yourself. Because courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is figuring out how to keep going when you are scared. You know, because things are scary and change is hard and it's embarrassing and awkward and uncertain, you know? So love, self-love, love of others. But I absolutely, we create our own reality with our thoughts and our actions. Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
And and you can change that stuff. That's a cool thing. You know, we know this from the recent science, little nerd alert here, but like all the neuroplasticity says, you know, people are, first of all, I just like to say, if what I'm about to say is like, sounds woo woo to you and you think like, oh, mantras don't work, whatever. Like people have mantras already. They have negative mantras. Like this isn't going to work out. Like this isn't going to work out. Like this isn't going to work out. There's no point in trying. You know, it's not going to work for me. I don't, you know, that's the mantra. You're just saying it already. So if you could change that mantra, I love that about music. You know, so many of us use music that way. We use it to inspire us. That's why we play it in the football locker room, right? Before the game, and in a lot of other spaces too. But yeah, so I do believe you could change your own reality with help and with self-love and with purpose. Yeah. And do, man, like go big or go home. Like, this is like a one-shot deal as far as we know. And I want to end up feeling like I did it all.
That's neat. That is really neat. For all of you songwriters and song-loving people out there, this is one of the great parts about this show. We get to talk about the craft, and even sometimes like this, we get to talk about the motivational and insight layer before the craft. What's driving the craft? So this is really, really neat stuff.
I would just say about the craft, I rewrote that song 16 times. I'm not kidding. I rewrote that song 16 times. It's honestly, it's the most rewritingness I've done on a song, but and most of it was taking stuff out. I had like a lot more, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Well, the craft always has to occur. No doubt about it. It's amazing. So keep in mind out there in the audience, a lot of times when a songwriter gets stuck or when there's a younger or novice songwriter, they're trying to write inside the song, crafting inside the song without stepping away to say, what is the emotion or the insight driving this song? What do I feel? What do I think? And
I'll actually tell you on my little recording device, like now I use my phone, of course, but before my digital recording device, I will often say while I'm writing, I will speak. I will say, what I'm really trying to say is blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, how do I put that into music, you know? I'll also just tell you, like, one of my little secrets that I wish somebody had told me is that one of the best helpfulnesses to my songwriting is listening to the song while driving. I actually do not have a realistic perspective when I'm playing it and I'm writing it. So, I mean, like someone like you or Moses, I don't know, 75 voice memos that are then like labeled in some helpful way, like, hey, possibly better second verse, or,
Yeah.
I think this might be the bridge or whatever. But it's when I'm driving, that's when I listen a lot, is obvious. I'm like, oh, it's that one. Like I tried it like 3 different ways. It's that one. And I
Interesting.
cannot figure that out with a guitar in my hand. I just can't, because
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have no idea
That's
why.
interesting. A lot of artists say that of many different kinds of art, that when they're working with their hands or doing something, that's often when insight comes from the side or something tangential occurs. Yeah.
Right. Like one of my favorite writers is Isaac Asimov. He was a science fiction writer, but he's also the only guy, as far as I know, at the point of his death, he was the only writer to have a book in every single section of the Dewey Decimal System, which is pretty amazing, right? Like science, history, biography,
Yeah.
fiction. But he would the only reason he wanted to mow his lawn was because that's how he solved problems in his writing.
Yeah. Yeah. That
He
is.
didn't want to go on vacation, but he would, because he didn't like that. But he would mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Because that's
For me, it's always been water. I've been an avid and competitive swimmer most of my life, and I've swam in every kind of water on this planet, including way too many swimming pools. And for me, that non-competitive swimming, where I decide to go swim in a lake or hop in the pool and just go for an hour, even in the shower, and a lot of people say this about the shower, that just things just come out of nowhere, very clear and very calm, really interesting. But for me, it's the water, as you can tell by the water behind me. So
yeah. I mean, the craft is like the seasoning to the magic. It's definitely I don't know what the recipe is. There's not a recipe, but it's because there's definitely that magic, right? There's just things that just fall out. You're like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Before I ask you to do your second song in a second, the one other quick thing you had mentioned, which I want to make sure that songwriters and songwriter appreciators in the audience heard you say, was when you get to a section of a song, sometimes you'll say, I want this to be about this, or when you were listening to it in the car, that section should really be about this. And that's another technique that's often used, that when you get to the second verse, either beforehand or during or after, at some point say, the second verse is supposed to do this or say this. Yeah. And that bullet, that outline top-down thinking, sometimes helps people who need to help chisel the stone a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's just another thing I think is cool. I do this with a lot of my students is that they'll write out all their verses and I'll cut it up into slips so they can move it around. Like, what's my order? Because I heard a songwriter at I think it was at Rocky Mountain Summer School, which is like a songwriting camp. There's a bunch of songwriting camps. And they said that it was like a pretty hit songwriter had written some famous song, but they'd always written in a spiral bound notebook, not the loosely, not the ones with like the little square thingy.
Yeah.
And they had these 2 sections that were like 30 pages apart for like 10 years. And then they realized that those were 2 parts and they were never able to finish either of them. And they realized that they were the same song, but they were like 30 pages apart in the notebook. And so that's when they started using like loose leaf notebooks, because they needed to be able to move stuff. Right. So just some of that mechanical things.
I do some of that with my writing notebooks. I leave blank pages between writing efforts. I leave blank lines between every line I write. You have to have that flexibility. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so since we're talking about songwriting craft, I thought I'll do Coming Back for You, because it's definitely it's one of my proudest. I really am proud of this song. So I was at Rocky Mountain Song School and they had us do this exercise, which is sit down and write about a moment in your life where your life really changed from one minute to the next. It changed. So I wrote about like the night my parents got separated. I was 10 or 11 and we came home from a trip and we unpacked the car and we didn't unpack my dad. Like we unpacked all of us and then all my dad's stuff stayed in the car, which we did not know was going to be happening until we pulled into the driveway. And then my parents said they were separating and my dad left. So that was like a real cleaving for me of my life before and after were totally different. So we wrote about this in some detail. And then we partnered with someone else and we told them our story. And then we wrote the other person's song. So this song Coming Back for You, which is funny because honestly, it was a couple of years before I recognized how much I relate to this song as well. This is this guy, Kevin, and he came from a really hard household. And the moment he talked about was he was walking back to the house and he could see the house across the fields. He lived in a rural area. He could see the house. And he just knew that he could not go home with his heart. Like he just had to like cut his heart out of his body to be able to go back to that house. And he said he like literally like knelt down and like put his heart in the ground. And he promised himself, he said, if life ever makes sense to me, I'm coming back for you. And so every single detail of this song is something that Kevin told me. He was 12 years old and a mile from home when something stopped him in his tracks. He couldn't go on and he couldn't stay there. He couldn't go back. He couldn't walk the plank to that white front door, dying for a place called home. The youngest of 5, he lived in a house where everybody lived alone. And it was late October, late afternoon. The fields were dry and brown. There was nobody else, so he said to himself as he knelt down on the ground, if I ever make sense of this life I'm living, I know what I'm gonna do. And then he buried his heart in the cold, dry dirt. He broke himself in two. Sometimes to survive, just to stay alive, this is what we have to do. No matter what it takes, no matter where I go, I swear, I'm coming back for you. When he turned 24, he was locked up again, and something stopped him in his tracks. He couldn't go on and he couldn't stay there, and he couldn't go back. The walls of his cell were the walls of his mind, were the walls of his life from the start. And he fell to his knees, he was begging to be free when he heard this voice from his heart. Sometimes to survive, just to stay alive, this is what we have to do. No matter what it takes, no matter where you go, I swear, I'm coming back for you. And he was broken, open, inside, broken, open. See the mirror, growing clearer. So now I'm here at 50 years, something stops me in my tracks. I can't go on and I can't stay here. I have to go back. 'Cause I see these boys down on their knees, burying their hearts in the dirt. And I kneel right down and I pull them in. I say, son, I know how that hurts. 'Cause sometimes to survive, just to stay alive, this is what we have to do. And we can heal ourselves when we help someone else. That's why I'm coming back for you. Coming back for you. Coming back for you. Coming back for you.
Boy, what a beautiful song.
Thanks.
Yeah. That is really neat. So you took each other's things you'd written and you wrote a song about it.
In an afternoon.
That's amazing. It's really neat.
It's really, really helpful. I tell you what, for other songwriters, it's like, you know, you don't have to like walk around waiting for your own life to inspire you. There's like 8 billion other people on the planet, you know? So, and there's so many great songwriting exercises. And time constraints are your friend in some ways, can be.
Yes. Yes, I have a number of quarterly songwriting challenges that I do with people, with that keyboard player from the intro, Gene Galligan, with the artist from Bethlehem, not for Coltrane, Michael Duck. We give each other challenges. And it's amazing, as the quarter winds down, the activity winds up on that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm in a little bit. Your music is very inspiring, so I'm going to try to contribute something that hopefully is matching the theme that you're putting out here, which is positivity and caring and responsibility. And let me compliment you also on your performing skills. This is in Zoom and virtual settings. Some artists sometimes don't realize that it's still a stage. You are very animated and positive, and you deliver the song, and you sway your shoulders, and so.
I'm kind of like a trained seal, honestly. Performance is like unique to me. But thank you.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been working on that. I do it okay when I'm on stage, but in virtual, I'm always trying to do something. So this is a song I wrote about change and where change might be hiding, and how it might show its face, and what you might need to do if it shows its face. It's called "Coming Your Way." It's in the shift of the wind, in the lowing of the light, in the first hint of feeling restless, where change does abide. It's in the first mighty geese riding north, in a bed of ferns crackling to life. It's when your heart learns it can't live alone. You know it is time. So take that step, small and unsteady. Take that breath, one at a time. Hold the now in the palm of your hand, sacred and wild. Steady your heart, steady your gaze, steady ahead, there's only today. Time and love, the great healers, they are coming your way. Coming your way. Coming your way. This is the day you will find what was stolen, the day you reclaim your role. It's the day the ice breaks on the great river. Soon love will flow. So take that step, small and unsteady. Take that breath, just one at a time. Hold the now in the palm of your hand, sacred and wild. Steady your heart, steady your gaze, steady ahead, there's only today. Time and love, the great healers, they are coming your way. Coming your way.
Wow, that is so pretty, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so sweet.
Thank you so kindly. Yeah, it's been a theme in a lot of my writing for the last 2 or 3 years of characters or songs where the protagonist is at the edge of change. Mm-hmm. They've done the repair work, the emotional work. They've gained some form of insight, and they are there. So it's coming your way, or a change is about to happen, and it's about that turn. It's about that pivot. So it's the theme has been very strong in my writing. So yeah, so I like that song. As I was saying in one of my last songwriter showcases after I played it, I wind up rooting for these characters. because,
I like that. Yeah.
Because you want to know what happens next. Are they going to?
Right. It's so funny. This guy, Mike Agronoff, has this song. I don't think it's his song, actually. And it's this guy in the song is doing something like, and at some point the guy needs to go up a tree. And at this point in the song, the character like turns to the songwriter in the song and goes like, no, actually, I'm not going up the tree. And the songwriter's like, I'm the songwriter. You have to go up the tree. And the guy goes, no, I'm definitely not going up the tree. In fact, I'm like fighting back. The character like comes to life in a whole different way. Breaks that third wall there.
Oh yeah, Livingston Taylor has a fabulous song called "Railroad Bill."
I think that's it. I think that might be it.
Where he's fighting with Bill for control of the pen during.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Livingston is a dynamic performer and songwriter. I'm really crazy about him. Have been for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney, and our special guest is Kathy Moser. That's KathyMoser. You can find her at kathymoser.com, and you can get in touch with her at kathymoser@mac.com to reach out to her, find out about her music and how you might be able to get her to play for you. A really great artist and a very good songwriter. As you can tell, the hours just ripping by. Just what a great guest. We could talk for days. This is fantastic. Hey, let's take a look at a couple of your things and your website and stuff. So I'm first going to share your website. So again, that's kathymoser.com. Music for a Better World is the byline there. Neutral's not enough is the phrase there as well. So where did that one come from?
Well, so I'm a definite climate activist. I'm a complete groupie and fan of the planet. This is my favorite planet. Although I know we're exploring now onto Mars, but I don't know if you've seen Mars. There's not a lot there. No. So yeah, neutral's not enough is a part of my climate challenge to encourage audiences to carpool to shows, because the number one environmental impact in the music business is actually the audience traveling to the shows. So we incentivize/bribe people to carpool to shows.
That's fantastic, and it's up in the thousands already, the number of people who've done that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. What a positive thing.
Well, it's also good for people, right? This is all pre-pandemic, obviously, but we'll come back to it. But, a lot of the venues I play are smaller, so it's better for the parking lot. And if people like carpool and then they go out to dinner together in the town, like that's good for the town. And it's just funner. Like a lot of environmental solutions, a lot of environmental living is a better quality of life anyway. So,
true.
Yeah.
True, very true. Hey, some neat photos on your site here as well.
Thank you.
The one we were talking about earlier is your great performance shot here. I always tell when an artist is really having fun. They kind of lose it and close their eyes.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun to do that. It's a good black and white photo here as well.
Yeah, I love that. I played at someone's party and someone just grabbed that shot for me.
Yeah, it's really cool and a good depth focus on that as well. There's you with a bunch of folks.
Oh, yeah, this was the Knockout Opioids songwriting contest I did for the state of New Jersey, which I came in second. So that was cool.
Is that Caroline at the end, Caroline Messina?
Yep, that's Caroline at the end, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Who just passed away recently.
I know, such a loss, man.
Yeah. Boy, that's just a really positive thing you guys are doing there.
Absolutely. Yeah, really important. Oh, that's actually me with Bernie. At Ponderosa.
Oh, wow. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah, Bernie had his birthday party there. He's such a great guy, Bernie Drury. A great songwriter, a really good guitarist too, and just such a great community member. He hosted. They were just reopening as a studio, and he hosted his birthday party there in order to have all and did like a big open mic and had like I don't know 35 musicians. So 35 of us all learned about this new studio. It used to be Mixolydian, and now it's reopened as Ponderosa. Great sounding room. Great engineer up there.
That's wonderful. And don't forget, folks, you can see the episode with Bernie Drury on my YouTube page, Tom Cooney, in the playlist, Songwriters Alive. You'll see Bernie's episode in there. And she was some other folks here.
Oh, this was at Steel City Coffee. I got like a whole group of people up on the stage to sing with me. This was so fun. Yeah, that's out in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's a magical place.
It's a great room. They great food too, by the way. Really good food as well as good music.
Yeah, and very positive folks there. There's a great bio page on kathymoser.com. Make sure that you do take a look at that, and also a great blog quote from Sandy Rogovin here. In her song, Someone Like You, singer-songwriter Kathy Moser asked a question, what if it turned out to be true, that the only one who could save this world was you? Moser answers in the way she lives her life, and she'd like to inspire all of us to save the world right along with her. I think hopefully you're catching that from the episode, spreading the positivity and spreading the energy, and that I think Sandy captured that very, very clearly there. The photos we looked at. You belong to a couple of very interesting groups, and of course, one that Bernie Drury belongs to is the Skyland Songwriters Guild. And songwriting groups are very important to songwriters. Can you talk about this one for us?
Yeah, so this has been going on for, I don't know, a bunch of years here. Bernie and this guy, George Marinich, started it. And so we meet monthly. We do, and they always have like an exercise, which has been really cool. Like one of the exercises Bernie had us do was like, take everything out of your pockets and like write a story about like why all that stuff is in your pockets. So we always do an exercise. They often do a song prompt, and then people play their songs for each other. And you don't bring finished songs to this kind of a group. You bring songs that are like your problem children, and going like, okay, I have this song, and I just don't know what's happening with it. I like it, but I haven't been able to solve the puzzle yet. Songs, a lot of times, songwriting is like puzzle solving, and it's really so helpful to hear. It's a couple things. One is, we can get really married to our material. We get like, it goes like this, Yeah. And, but when you listen to other people's songs that are unformed, it's so obvious that there's a bunch of choices. And then that helps me at least to be more open-minded about choices in my songs.
Yeah. I recently joined I'm a member of the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance, which is a non-critique group except for certain days. And I'm a member of the Godfrey Daniels Guitar Pole Songwriting Circle. And I've been the Zoom tech co-host of the session since last spring as well. We just did our 10th or 11th monthly session just a couple of days ago. But for this kind of thing where there's other songwriters who provide constructive criticism, I recently joined the Philly Songwriters Circle, and I was amazed at what a great supportive and nurturing environment where people really know how to constructively criticize and share ideas. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And it also just, I don't know, just in your general day-to-day life, might not be like, if you have a day job or something, you might just not be running into a lot of different songwriters. And it's just also helpful to not feel like a freak. Also just like to say that Skyland Songwriters Guild is actually part of Skyland's music group. And they do all kinds of great things. They do festivals. They do education days. They book people. It's a great organization. I really encourage people to join that. Got it.
Yeah, very good. Always good to meet with other songwriters, definitely. If you haven't done it, make sure you reach out. Another big thing that's part of your total music life is music for recovery. And can you talk with folks about that a little bit?
Sure. Well, I am like super fortunate that I had a problem with drugs and alcohol, and I got some help about 25 years ago. I'm actually about to celebrate 25 years of continuous recovery. And I just realized at some point along the way that the process of making music and playing music has so much to offer to people in recovery. And so I started a company called Music for Recovery about 10 years ago. And we provide musical programming in drug and alcohol treatment centers around the country. And actually, we just got picked up by a venue in the UK as well. So we're going to be going international in 2021. So that's really fun. So we do songwriting workshops. We've actually written over 700 songs with groups of people in 2 hours, sometimes up to 40 people. One of the best songs we wrote in 2 hours with 40 people.
Wow.
That was crazy.
That's amazing.
And we also do concerts, and we also install studios, and we do instrumental lessons, helping people work on their recovery skills like slowing down, repetition, and a lot of other things through the process of making and learning music. And we've also had a lot of experiences where people, many people with substance use disorder have a trauma history, and we've just had a lot of experiences where people were able to express something in a song that they had not yet been able to tell their therapist, and then they were then able to share that with a therapist through this process of songwriting. So we do that all over the country, I'm really honored to be able to do that. And I have a little team of people who you saw on that cover page there. Myself, Alice Leon, and Ella. Ella's on the right there. Ella Y. She's a youngin', so we just keep her anonymity there. But I'll just tell you that chick, she's going to school to be a music therapist. And so we're really thrilled to have her on our team. A lot of fun photos up there. Like there's a picture of me with Steven Tyler, and there's a picture of me with Paul Williams, who's the president of ASCAP.
Oh, I know.
You probably have to scroll down to find those. But yeah, I don't really. Yeah, there's the one of me with Steven Tyler, and then there's like me with Richie Supa, who runs Recovery Unplugged and co-wrote Amazing. There's a picture of me with Ricky Byrd, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He played guitar with Joan Jett, and there's a picture of me with the legendary Paul Williams, who is now the president of ASCAP and also a big advocate for. And I think there's probably a picture of me with Bobby McFerrin, actually. I wonder, is there a picture of me with Bobby McFerrin there? There's a picture of me with what's his name, Liberty DeVito. He played drums behind Billy Joel.
Oh, that's fantastic. If you want to reach out to Music for Recovery, there is a booking and contact page. They are musicforrecovery.com. That's the site that we're on, and certainly is a way to contact them for the great mission that you and all those folks are doing. Boy, really, really neat stuff.
Thanks, man.
Oh boy, you're busy. You've got all these things in your music world. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super grateful. I actually have not had a day job. I also teach. I teach a little bit guitar and songwriting and performance. And I haven't had a day job in like over 20 years. So at some point I was like, oh, I'm not actually ever going to be able to work for anyone else. Yeah. I'm completely self-employed now. Let's get rid of all those brown clothes.
Yeah, I had a very long career in IT, from a technical novice right up through management consulting and strategy. I've been retired about 3 years. I played music in my 20s, as I said, and always played and always had a couple of students because I'm a strong player and a strong music theory guy. And so when I retired, it was, okay, I'm going to hop back on the horse or the bike and see how far this goes. And so far, it's been productive and fulfilling and exciting, back teaching again and performing solo. The emphasis big for me right now is songwriting. I do play with a blues trio once in a while, and that's a lot of fun as well. But I described it to a friend of mine a couple of months ago. I wasn't trying to say it. It came out like all good things. I said, well, I'm living inside the music. I think in music terms, and I experience in music. And it hasn't been that way for a long time. The world is music.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I would say to anybody listening, like if you love music, first of all, if you're young, what's cool about music is you don't have to outgrow it. There's stuff you have to outgrow. Music is not one of those things.
Totally.
And the whole just playing for your own enjoyment and in your own community is like, it's the way people have played music through almost all of human history. The rock star thing is cool, but it's a complete aberration. And it's not the main use of music. And to play music with your family and your friends, for your church, in a local group, just for your own enjoyment, is completely worth it.
Absolutely, totally. The big star dreams are the big outliers, the big exception. And we say this to the young songwriters all the time. It's an experiential craft. You get better by doing it, like any art, like any craft. You just have to do it. So do it. And if you want to go to an open mic, go ahead. If you want to go to a songwriter circle and share a song, go ahead. You're going to be as nervous as every other person who's ever been there. And they all survived, and they all got better at it. So just do it.
Right. I'd also encourage you, if you haven't played in an open mic and you're worried about your nerves, I encourage you to commit to doing it 10 times before you have any opinion about it. Because your nerves are going to blow you up a couple of times, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
But that's energy that you can harness. At first it'll blow your fuses, but you can learn to direct and harness that energy.
Very much.
But like don't give up after one. Don't give up after two, man. Give it 10 times and you'll start to hit your groove and you'll start to understand how to do it. A lot of people like blank out on stage. A lot of people can't catch their breath.
Oh, yeah.
It's all normal.
All normal, yeah.
So, yeah, just give yourself a chance because being able to express yourself, like, there's nothing like it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a little kid that, like, pulling at your sleeve. If you don't feed it, it will not leave you alone. It'll just follow you around the rest of your life. Like, yo, let's play some music. Yo, let's play some music.
Yeah, it's knocking on the door for a reason. Go answer it.
That's right.
Stuff. Hey, this is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. Our guest this month is Kathy Moser, KathyMoser. You can find her at kathymoser.com. And you can get in touch with her at kathymoser@mac.com. Hey, where's the best place for people to hear your music? I know you've got a great music page on kathymoser.com where a lot of your songs
it's
are
there. It's on iTunes. There's a YouTube channel. There's all that. I'm not doing the Instagram thing, but yeah, that would be the best way. The website, the iTunes, the YouTube channel.
Wonderful.
I think I'm on Spotify too. I'm pretty sure my assistant put me on Spotify.
Well, I know you're on Amazon Music because I was reading the New York Times on my tablet this morning, and I'd already listened to about a dozen of your songs, and I thought, well, let me just ask Amazon. Let me ask Alexa, who knows my entire life anyway. Let me ask her to play songs by Kathy Moser, and playing songs by Kathy Moser.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. It's so embarrassing that I didn't.
Really neat. And I heard a song of yours I hadn't heard, which I loved, which was Ghost in the Kitchen.
Oh, yeah, that's Bernie's favorite song.
Oh, what a great tune.
Yeah, thank you.
As you can tell, folks, there's so much good music here. Make sure you find Kathy Moser and support her. Again, the best way to support musicians always, but especially during these times, is to buy directly from the musician. Stream if you like, okay, that's fine, but getting the music from them is the most beneficial way to do. So I want to thank, before Kathy does her last tune, and boy, this hour just like ripped right by. I knew this was going to happen. This is fantastic. This show will air on Rocking the Valley on YouTube. So that's Rocking the Valley. Big shout out to Steve Jones and everyone over at Rocking the Valley. So before you go into your last tune, I want to thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
It's wonderful. Love your stuff and love your personality and your positivity. Very wonderful.
Thank you. So can I do a quick intro on this song? I just changed my mind about what I'm going to play.
Absolutely. I'm going to mute myself. You go ahead.
So this song is called Godot, and I'm going to like ruin the ending of a couple of pieces of literature on this song. So just warning you here. First of all, there's a famous play written by Samuel Beckett called Waiting for Godot. If you haven't read it, you have had 200 years to read it. So not my fault you haven't read it yet. Here's the deal. There's two guys waiting at a crossroads for Godot to show up. He does not show up. The end. I have no idea why this is a famous play. So the song references that. Also, the song references Odysseus. Where's that part? Oh, right. The tie me to the mast. So Odysseus, 2,000 years. You've had a really long time to read this, Homer. So he's on a ship going past this island where the sirens are, which are these really beautiful women. But if you go there, they kill you. But they sing really nicely. So he wants to hear them sing, but he does not want to die. So he has his sailors tie him to the mast. I just want to let you know this is not the 50 Shades of Grey portion of the song. This is the deep literary reference. This also references Steve Martin, the Jerk. You've only had like 25 years to watch that, so I'm not going to ruin the ending for you on that one. But this is about change. It's about change, which is that topic that we talked about before, and allowing the universe to help you change. wonder why I'm stuck outside this door that's slammed in my face. In any minute, oh, any day, you'll come back and things will be that same old way. They never were, they never will, they never can. Give me someplace new to go. Oh, and tie me to the mast and let the wind blow me by. The siren of now you see him, now you don't. I spent my whole life waiting for Godot. Godot never shows. And it's a small world if you never move on. You can find your way through it in the dark. Take me out into the light of day. Take everything I know away. And all I have, that's all I want. It's all I need. No, no, no. It's all I've ever known. Pick my feet up, God. I will put them down. Give me someplace new to go. Whoa, tie me to the mast and let the wind blow me by. The siren of keep everything just like it is. I spent my whole life waiting for Godot. Godot never shows. It could break my heart, bring me to tears. All I have not done with all these wasted years. But I've cried enough, I cried alone. I'm moving on to the unknown, where I don't know the people, and I don't know the signs, and I don't know the streets, and I don't know the times. Pick my feet up, God, I will put them down. Give me someplace new to go. Whoa, and tie me to the mast and let the wind blow me by. The siren of everything I've ever known. I spent my whole life waiting for Godot. Godot never shows. Godot never shows. Godot never shows.
Very, very creative, very positive.
Thank
Very
you.
neat stuff. Hey, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's great to hear your songs too, man.
It's great to listen to a wonderful songwriter like you. Thanks for sharing what motivates your songwriting. Thanks for sharing how you craft. And most importantly, thanks for sharing who you are and how much positivity you're trying to bring to where we all live and what we're all trying to do. It's really wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing, man. It really means a lot to me to be able to have this opportunity to be with you today.
You're welcome. Hey, don't forget, folks, you can find Songwriters Alive on Tom Cooney YouTube in the Songwriters Alive playlist. Look for this live airing Monday, April 5th at 7 p.m. on Rocking the Valley YouTube. Big shout out to Steve Jones and all the folks over at Rocking the Valley. That's up. It's a wrap, and we are gone. Thanks again, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Breath of twilight caresses the air. The river mist hangs sweet and fair. The evening swallows, they whisper their tune, dancing on